Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Vyasa-Shankara-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam Shruti-Smriti-Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-Padam Shankaram Loka-Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhasha Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we finished that mantra Chayayam Parijatasya. I think we finished that. Chandrananam Chaturbahum Chandrananam Chaturbahum Srivatsam Shritavakshasam Rukmini Satyabhamabhyam Sahitam Krishnamashraye. So the first word is Chandrananam. So Chandrananam, Chandra means the moon, and Chandrananam means the moon-faced Lord. Then Chaturbahum. So Bahu means the arms, the four-armed Lord. Chaturbahum. Then Srivatsa Ankita Vakshasam. So Srivatsa or the Srivatsa is supposed to be a symbol of auspiciousness. So Ankita Vakshasam. So the one who is with the Srivatsa, or whose chest is marked with Srivatsa. Then how is he? He is also along with Rukmini and Satyabhamabhyam. So along with these two consorts, Rukmini and Satyabhamabhyam Sahitam Krishnamashraye. So this is the way it is worshipped, where the moon face of the Lord, four-armed Lord, the one who has got the Srivatsa on his chest, and who is also shown along with Rukmini and Satyabhama. Sahitam means along with. So in the Saguna Brahma Upasam, Sahitam is used, that means along with. In Nirguna Brahma Upasam, Rahitam is used, that means without. So Sahitam and Rahitam. So whenever you worship is something along with an attribute, it is called Sahitam. So I surrendered to the Bhagavan Krishna, whose face is as beautiful as the moon. Chandrananam Chaturbahum Srivat Sankshita Pakshasam Rukmini Satyabhamabhyam Sahitam Krishnamashraye. So with this, he has concluded, Adi Shankara has actually concluded the introduction to Vishnu Sahasranama. So up to this, it is called Introduction to Vishnu Sahasranama. Now from here onwards, the stotram starts. It's called Sahasranamavali, starts from here. So from here, there are 1,000 words of Bhagavan are being illustrated, are being discussed. Okay. So just like in any other mantra we chant, always start with Om. So Om is very an integral part of the Sahasranama, because Om itself is a word which symbolizes the entire cosmic presence. All of the objects which are there are represented by the word Om. And Om also indicates an auspicious beginning. And we do not have anything, any mantra without this use Om. Om also represents the Sagunam and Nirgunam Brahma Upasana. That means the person can meditate on the Om as the one which has got the Saguna with the attributes. So when you say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, the Vasudeva here is represented as, you can worship as Bhagavan Krishna, whichever form you want to worship, you can worship. So the Om symbolizes the Saguna Brahma Upasanam. Sagunaha means along with the attributes. The Om also is called the Pranava Mantraha. So Pranava Mantraha, where the person can meditate on the Nirguna Brahma Upasana. That means the person who understands the meaning of Om really can meditate on the Nirguna Brahma Upasana. The word Om itself is derived from the root word called Avarakshane. So the Om is a word derived from the root called Avarakshane. So Rakshane means to protect. So Om itself means an act of protecting. If you don't do anything, you just chant Om also, it is a protection mantra. So Om is something which protects the sadhaka, or the person who chants the mantra is the protection. Because there is no other protection other than the Bhagavan. Everybody else is all of the people who give you protection are relative protection. Like, the husband, the children, the parents, the grandfather, the grandmother, the property, all of them, they are only relative protection. So they will give protection as long as they can give you within their limited powers. So they cannot give you something which they don't have. Correct. So when you ask for some protection which you really don't have with anybody, you go and surrender to the Bhagavan only. That's why the word Om is used there. So it's a source of protection, and Om also includes the Maya Shakti also. Because Om is called Brahman. And in Brahman or in consciousness, the Maya Shakti is also present in a nascent form. That is, it is not manifest, but it is present. So we always start with the word Om. Then, Om also denotes, I'll give you some context so that you know what Om, when you say just simple Om, it has got a lot of connotation. I can give you a whole topic, whole lecture on 7 days only on Om, full day lecture. But I'll just keep it very short so you don't get bored. So Om implies Akara, Ukara, Makara, first one, which is 3 states of experience. So waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state, number 1. Om also symbolizes the Maya Shakti, and Om also stands for the 3 types of manifests. First is called the Stula Shariram, which is the physical body. Then Sukshma Shariram, which is the Manaha, Prana, etc., which is Sukshma, means that which you cannot see, but you know it is existing. The power to see is something you already know it is there, but you cannot see the power itself. So you cannot see the power, but you can only experience the power. So it's called Sukshma. So anything which is subtle is called Sukshma. Ati Sukshma is something which is very, very, very subtle. Ati Sukshma. So Sukshma Shariram, Stula Shariram, and also the unmanifest. So unmanifest means there is something which is not manifest yet. Like in deep sleep state, there is not manifestation yet. So all the 3 signifies the word Om. And the Om also has got 3 states experience, and they are the people who are called like this, or the name for that is Vaishwanaraha. So the word Vaishwanaraha stands for the one which is in the waking state, is equal to Akara. So Akara means the waking state. So A-U-Ma, A-U-M is what? Om. So the A stands for the Akara, which is called the Vaishwanaraha. The Ukara stands for the dream state, which is called Tejasaha. So you will see this topic discussed in some other discussion about Tejasaha. So this is called the dream state. And then the third state called Makara, it talks about the Pragyaha. So all these three states of experience, all the three condition of the body, all the letters which is in between the A, U, Ma, because there cannot be any letters. So the A, U, Ma stands for three letters, three syllables, 1 or 3 syllables. But in between the three, the guttural and the throat and the nasal, all the words are expressed, letters are expressed. So all of the alphabets you can see is in the Akara, Ukara and Makara. And all the letters symbolizes a word. You can interchange any word, any letter with anything to form a word. So in Tamil we call Uyirithikkal, Meyyirithikal. So without the vowels, the other things don't exist. So the 5 elements which we talked about, the Panchakshara mantra which we talked about also in the Tamil class. So they are called the Uyirithikkal. They lend existence to the other things. Without those 5 things, the other word don't have any meaning. You cannot form any word without the vowels. So the vowels are important to join something, correct? So all of the letters symbolizes a word. All the letters symbolizes a word. And every word corresponds to an object of knowledge. Every word corresponds to an object of knowledge. So if you take any object called a pen, it is also a letter called P-E-N. It's 3 letters. And it is in the alphabet A to Z, correct? And the word E has to be there in the middle for the pen to exist. So without the E, the essence being there, the word pen itself doesn't have an existence. So same way here also, the words are important, the letters are important, and this symbolizes the existence of the entire universe. All of the words put together form these objects. So all of them, including the physical body, is called a name. It's a body. So tree, plant, sky, rivers, ocean, bus, car, anything you call, it is a word, and the word indicates an object of knowledge. And this entire Jagat universe is put together as a combination of words. And the words themselves, they combine to become a sentence. And a sentence brings into existence. The table is, chair is, body is, mind is. So the word is, when you add, it brings into an existence, isness. Right? So Om itself is actually a very big topic. So here, the word Om itself is called Jagat. Or all the names of Vishnu is in this Om. So 1000 names are given just for example, just for understanding. But Vishnu cannot be restricted to only 1000 names. The 1000 means it is an indication of the vastness or the way in which the universe is presented here in this topic. Right. Also the Om symbolizes Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. Bhur, Bhuvaswaha. So we say what? Om, Bhur, Bhuvaswaha. So Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. So Bhuhu means what? The earth or existence. Bhuhu. So it's called Sat. Sat. Then Bhuhu talks about the space. Sorry, Bhuha talks about the space. And Suvaha talks about the happiness or Ananda. So three lokas are there. Bhur, Bhuva, Suvaha. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. Right. So all the three denotes this entire three different states of experience, three different lokas, and all the letters which is included in the word Om symbolizes this one particular called Om. Simple meaning. So then so first letter we talk about is Vishwam. Okay. First word is called Vishwam. So the word Vishwam itself means that one which is talks about the universe, Vishwam. So the world is called Vishwa. Okay. So the word is called Vishwa. So the word Vishwam itself is a derivation from the word Vish, which is pervades everything. Vish means that which pervades everything. And the second letter is called Jayatha. So Jayatha means that which comes into existence. So the world which comes into existence and the world which gets pervaded by Vishnu is called Vishwam. So the world which comes into existence through Vishnu and the world which enjoys existence is Vishnu, and the world in which everything is pervaded by this Vishnu Mayam is called Vishwam. So three things are happening. So Vishwam definition is just only a simple thing, is universe. But the universe that comes into existence through Vishnu, the existence that is maintained by Vishnu, and the existence that is pervaded by Vishnu in entirety is called Vishwam. And Vishwam here also talks about the Karanam Karta. So the person responsible for the creation of the universe is called Karanakarta. So Karanakarta means sometimes you can't avoid the Vedantic language because Vishnu Sahasranama is actually a Vedantic text. It is the Parayanam text, but there is a lot of Vedanta in this. So somewhere or the other you will find glimpses of Vedanta coming from me. So it's just that I can't help it. That is the way it is. So Vishwam is equal to Karanakarta. That means Karta means doer and Karana means the reason for the creation of the universe. So somebody may ask, why does the Bhagavan create this universe? Or why does he want to people suffer? Or why do we, first of all, what is the real interest in Bhagavan? Why does he create this? In the foremost of the creation theory, the Bhagavan does not have any interest in creating anybody, any of us. He doesn't get any benefit, he doesn't get any enjoyment by us enjoying this world, nor suffering in this world. So one of the people asked, then what is the real incentive for the Bhagavan to create? He says, this universe has been existing for many years. We are only talking about the creation now. This creation or this manifestation has been there for many, many years. So right from Satya Yuga to Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga to Kali Yuga. So people are questioning in Kali Yuga the existence of why Bhagavan created the universe. But the real question is, they do not understand as to this universe is very, very old, very Puratana. So the answer given by the Vedanti is that for getting a human life in this Janma, in this Kali Yuga, where you are questioning your birth, or you're questioning why you have taken birth, you have already taken birth many times before, which you do not know. So when you have taken birth before many times, you would have done so many activities which you yourself don't know, and there could have been good things and bad things. So when you're doing good things, someone has to enjoy. And you're doing bad things, someone has to also suffer. So for the exhaustion of the punyam and papam, for the exhaustion of the various punyam and papam, this universe has been created, or this whole magical world has been created for you to go and enjoy. So you go and enjoy in this magical world, whatever you want to experience. You play for as long as you want, you enjoy as long as you want. Finally, when you come to a conclusion that this all is all about that much only. So this is all about. Then when the realization comes to you, at that time, this universe is not required anymore. That is why in the Nirguna Brahma Upasanam, or when there's no attributeless Brahman, this universe is actually not seen by the person as real. For the person who sees this universe as real, the person's punyam and papam exists for real. For the person who sees the universe as not being real, is empirically real, not absolutely real. For the person, the punyam and papam also is not there, because he is not connected with the world from the perspective of transactional purpose. Correct? So vyavaharika satyam means, vyavahara means what? Transactional. So we are transacting with the world at this level. So when you transact, you will get something. So even if you give $1 also, you'll get something back. Correct? So when you get something back, you will get enjoyment. When you sell it back, you also get something back. So it's continuous. So it's called Vyavarika. So it's business. So for that purpose, the Bhagavan has created his world. So for that, because the Jivas has to exhaust the punyam and papam. So there is really no interest in Bhagavan creating the universe and suffering, making you suffer. Because in reality, there is no suffering at all. The suffering is purely incidental, purely due to ajnanam, due to ignorance. Because the suffering is only for the body, for the mind. Do you suffer when you are in deep sleep state? We don't. Why? Because we do not even know we exist. But we suffer during the waking state. Suffer means, like, we think we are enjoying, but actually we are not enjoying. We tend to think that yes, we are enjoying. I'm trying to keep myself awake. You're trying to keep busy, so that you don't know what to do otherwise. Supposing, imagine that you have nothing to do at home, no activity. You have nothing. What you will do? You have to find something, right? So the finding something is what people do. So Vyavarika, so you get busy. Rajasic activity comes over. They have to go somewhere, they have to call somebody, they have to meet somebody, they have to go, and all these things happen because there is a way of doing things. So this is what makes you do things. And when you do things, there's always going to be some result coming back in terms of happiness or sadness. And that is what is making us continue this life. And we go so far into the path that we do not know whether it is the reality or not. Same thing the dream state also. In the dream also, we sometimes have very dangerous dreams, sometimes very pleasant dreams. Some people have got always consistent dreams. So they have consistent means, like, every time they go to sleep, there will be an elephant chasing them or a lion attacking them. So they can even visualize the elephant running through the double-story house. The elephant is actually going around the house, standing there and blowing the trumpet, and the guy wakes up. Oh my God, what happened? Because he wakes up because he thinks that the elephant is actually right in front of him. But when he wakes up, he knows that there is no elephant, because there is no way the elephant can come through the main door also. We are living in a city area and there's no elephants in Australia. But yes, the elephant is actually visualized with the person. Why? And what do you do in dream? You suffer. You perspire, you wake up, you feel that something has gone wrong. Then you wake up. Suddenly you know that this is not the truth. So you are, what were you doing? You are suffering in dream initially, right? But when knowledge comes to you that dream is not the truth, then the pain disappears. Right? So that is why he says here, this Vishwam is the creation. This is how the Bhagavan creates all these things in you. Okay. It's not trying to create fear. He's just trying to create an awareness in you that all these things which you see here is actually not Satyam. It is only a passing phase. But if you take this to be the Satyam, there will be pains and pressure. So it's called Vishwam. So Vishwa Karna Karta. Okay. Then Vishwam has also got another meaning, which is called that which cannot be separated from the cause or the results. It cannot be separated. So the Bhagavan and the Vishwam cannot be separated. So they are tied together. Get what I'm saying? So when you worship the universe, you are worshipping the Bhagavan indirectly. You cannot say that let me keep the universe aside and let me see the Bhagavan separately. It is not possible, because when you are actually worshipping your universe, or when you are actually enjoying this, you are enjoying the power of the Bhagavan. See, that is why Navaratri also, if you Navaratri, right? Navaratri, what do? You have, the steps, different golu you keep. And people collect golu. I mean, for some people who are golu, you know what it is. But they collect, the dolls. So there is no imagination required. Somebody will say, in golu, nobody really asks as to why you are keeping that. Nobody will ever ask. In everything else, people ask, correct? Why do you have a big murti in your house? Why are you worshipping this Bhagavan? Is he your Kula Devata? All the questions asked. But when you go to Navaratri Golu, first thing comes to Shundal. They don't think about anything else. You go there and see, first of all, that lady, that if you go to their house, they have very good Shundal, elaborate food is there. They will not just give you Shundal. They will give you lunch and everything else. You can just go and relax, have a talk, and people will be singing, etc. And you can chant with the other people there. So some benefits of driving the car, like Sarathi. So Sarathi is when you go there, like you have to get some benefit, right? So nowadays I don't go. That's a different thing. Previously I used to go because my wife can't drive at night, so she can't. Visibility is not good. So both of us don't go anywhere now. So so there's no fundal, no benefit, nothing is there. It's okay. But what it says here, that Vishwam, that universe which you see there, the Golu, that represents the different varieties of items you see. Correct? So one can keep train, one can keep cricket ground, one can keep hockey net. People do whatever things are there. There are different lights they put, and they got idols starting from the top to the bottom they have, and they also have extension also. Right? So what it means is it's a miniature universe representing the entire objective world in the universe. And we worship that 9 days, we worship Devi in that form, correct? So the Devi is worshipped in those 9 days. And Devi is what? Is the Shakti. The Shakti of the creation of the universe, Shakti is there. Then only these objects can come into existence. Without the Shakti being there, these objects cannot come into existence. That's why Vishwam is also worshipped as the unseparated, or where the Bhagavan and Vishnu and the is not separated. Just like when you have the ghee in your house, right? You have a ghee. So when you look at the ghee, what do you see? Oh, it is ghee. That's what you see, right? But in the ghee, there is a presence of the milk in some form. Right? Can the ghee exist independently of the milk? Or can the ghee come out of milk just without nothing, from nothing? It has to have a source. So when you enjoy the ghee, or when you have, the sambar, rasam, whatever you have there, you are indirectly actually consuming milk in the original form. So the milk, the curd from which you ferment the milk and then the curd, and from the curd you actually churn the butter, and from the butter you get the ghee. They are all inseparable from each other. Though they are different forms, ghee is a different name, butter is a different name, curd is a different name, milk is a different name. But all of them is what they indicate only one thing. They are in different forms. That's why it says here, Vishwam. Okay, another word. Now we are going into technical details. Okay, so it will take a lot of time to explain all these things. Okay, so Vishwam. So you must know more information. So what I'm trying to give you is just not a literary meaning. So when we do this worship, so when you say Vishwam, you should know, oh, Vishwam means all this universe, all these objects. So you must not forget you're also part of the universe. Sometimes what they do, see, I'm different. All these golus are very good. I'm different. No, you're also part of the universe. You're also one of the Golu members there. If only thing you don't go and sit there, that's all. If you go and sit there also, nobody is going to question you also. Because see what it means that you're also one of the created objects in the world, along with the other object which cannot talk. You can talk, those people can't talk. So Vishwam. And Vishwam also represents that into which everything resolves when Mahapralaya goes. So when all of these, objects finally have achieved their existence. So we are in Kali Yuga now. So we are in Kali Yuga 5024th year. We have got 420,000 years in Kali Yuga. So you can be born as long as for 420,000 years. We can average assume that we have 100 years. Correct? Assuming that we are healthy, we can live up to 100 years. So 420,000 divided by 100. How many times you can be born? You can be born so many times. And you can die so many times also. And in that particular time, how much of action we do, how much of punyam we do is important. This is only for the person who thinks that I'm going to be reborn. So Vishwam is equal to into which everything goes into this. So this is how Vishnu has to be worshipped here. Okay. Then next is Vishnu Vishnuhu, right? So Vishwam Vishnu. So look at the mantra there. You see this? Om Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Om Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Bhutakrit Bhutabhrit Bhavo Bhutakrit Bhutabhrit Bhavo Bhutatma Bhutapavanaha Bhutatma Bhutapavanaha. So Om Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. So we saw the word Om. We saw the word briefly Vishwam. Now we are going to go to Vishnu. Okay. So Vishnu. So Vishnu means the one which pervades everything, called Vishnu. And the Vishnu, the word, comes from the root word called Vis. Vis means that which pervades everything is called Vis. So the word Vishnu means the one who is pervading or the one who is present in everything, living and non-living being in the universe is called Vishnu. So it is not important that you worship only the living people. So, okay, you cannot say that, oh, Vishnu means only the living people. No, it includes all the living beings, non-living beings, that which is, plants, animals, Stavaram, Jangamam, Vyaptiyat Sarvam. Trailokya Characharam. Right. So in Guru Sutram it is there, right? So Chinmayam Vyaptiyat Sarvam Trailokya Characharam Tatpadam Darshidam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Right. So Chinmayam means what is consciousness, Vyaptiyat Sarvam. So in the same way here also, Vishnu is the one who pervades everything. All of us in us, in every person here, is all Vishnu only. There is nobody here other than Vishnu here. That's one thing should be understood here. No, I am different. So you're different in terms of name. Like I told you, the milk is a different name. The butter is a different name. And even in butter also, if you go from some shop to shop, they sell different names for you. Ultimately, what do you call it? Is butter only. No, this is butter, Krishna butter. You know, this guy. All these are different names are there, but all the names indicate only one object. Correct. So likewise, we are also so many people are there. We are in different countries, different gotra, different kulams, different names, different jati, etc. But all of them represent what? Vishnu. There's only one. So when we have the vision like that, there cannot be any animosity, there cannot be any hatred to anybody. How can you hate somebody when you think that you are among them? You are also in them, they are also in me. So you cannot hate anybody. The hatred comes because you think that I am different from somebody, or my thoughts are different from his thoughts, which is transactional, it is possible. There's one thing called transactional reality, one thing called absolute reality. So you must not confuse these two things. See, when you're transacting to a person like this, you cannot talk to him and say, oh, you are Vishnu. So you cannot talk like this. When you talk to somebody, you have to talk to him as a person. So you talk to him, have eye contact with the person, and you say, hello, sir, how are you? Or madam, how are you? Everything okay in your house, etc. Then what do you say? The person says, he asks a question like this. Oh, I'm Brahmasmi, I don't talk. So you cannot talk, you cannot say, I'm Vishnu. So I am present in you, you are present in me. The person will disappear. He will overnight disappear from your house. He will not come again. What it means, the transactional vyavaharic behavior should not be consumed with paramarthika behavior. See, paramarthikam is in your head. Correct. You must, in your mind, you must realize that I am this. Whereas when you're dealing with somebody, you have to deal with at a person at that level. So, but you have to bring the concept of Ishvara into your mind. So when you deal with the person, you are very compassionate. See, Ishvara is very compassionate. He doesn't complain, correct? We complain to him. We complain to him about all sorts of things. He doesn't even say a single word. You give him anything what you want, he wants anything to you. Why? Because he listens to all your complaints. And he doesn't say anything to you at all. Correct? He is there, always there for you. You will disappear every day and come. At night, morning come, he'll still be there, always. You offer him something, you don't offer him something, he doesn't complain. This is how it should be. Even though it's in a photo, but what we should understand is, that is how we should be, that we must not be responsible, we must just be very understanding as a Bhagavan, compassionate, very, very helpful nature, understanding the person's weakness, understanding how we can help the person. This is how one develops the quality required to be closer to Bhagavan. You cannot just come close to Bhagavan without developing these qualities. Very important. That's why he says Vishnu, the one who pervades everything. It's called Vishnu. So pervading means that which is present in every living and non-living being. All of us are Vishnu in this case. So Om Vishnu, Vishnu, correct? Then Vashatkaraha. So Vashatkaraha means the deity to whom I am offering this. It's called Vashatkaraha. So all these deities you see here, any of the deities you have in your house, traditionally in our Indian culture, you will not have only one deity. You will have thousands of, hundreds at least. Somebody, you go to somebody's house, he doesn't want to give you anything, he'll say, I'll give you a photo. Some paper photo will give you. Somebody will give you a plastic photo. Somebody will give you a framed photo. Somebody will give you some Ganapati idol for Navratri Golu something. Or you go to somebody's house, they'll give something or the other. So what do you do? Because you have reverence for these things. You do not want to throw it also. You can't throw it in a dustbin. Neither you can give to somebody, because that somebody will also be given another person. When you go, oh, I got this from somebody, how are you giving me this to me? So you can't recycle also. Right? Because some people recycle. What they do, they just keep some photo there and they will try to distribute to somebody whom they are not given before. Unfortunately, the person knows that I also got the same photo from the same person, but he or she doesn't know about it. So what do you do with this? So you keep them in the house, correct? And this is how you collect and you become this. So Vashatkara means here that which has got different names and forms. So somebody will have a photo, somebody will have an idol, somebody will have, you know, different, somebody will keep it in the purse. If it is a small thing, they like to, okay, Lakshmi, I'll just keep it in the purse, in the wallet. They'll keep like this. And sometimes I've seen that also, I've forgotten about it. Somebody gave me some Shiva photo long time ago, 20, I don't know, 15 years ago. And I would have probably put in the wallet some time back. And the wallet is now, the other day my son told me, Appa, your wallet is all torn. And I tried to look at my wallet. The Shiva photo became jammed. It became one with the purse, wallet. So the Shiva and the wallet couldn't separate it. Because he has become stuck with one with the wallet. I myself didn't know about it. It is there. So what do? You can't separate them also, right? Just like Vishnu, same way. So Vashatkaraha means you worship the Bhagavan in various forms and names. Okay? Just as the Nadi has got different names, like we've got Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, Godavari, Narmade, Sindhu, Kaveri, and also many other rivers. Upa rivers are there. All the rivers, they got different names. They come from different sources. They come from different destinations. And all of them, they have their own identity till they come and meet the ocean, correct? So when they all come and meet the ocean, do you know whether the ocean meets the river or the river meets the ocean? You cannot know. Because the Sangamam is so seamless that you would not know which enters first and which becomes water. After the Sangamam is over, can you distinguish the river water and the sea water? You cannot. Right? So it becomes one. Right? That's why it says here Vashatkaraha. So all these deities are nothing but one, and the names and forms are just for identification only. So Om Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro. Next, Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. So three things are there. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat. Right? So Bhuta means what? Not Bhutam, not the ghost. Bhuta means past. So that which is present in the past. So as I told you, somebody asked a question, why am I here? Because I was here even before also. So your answer should be that I'm not here only this Janma. I have been here for many Janmas as in many forms. In this Janma, I am in a human form. I would have been existing, as an amoeba, as would have been existing as a scorpion, maybe as a frog in some other Janma. And I evolved. And I'll continue to be evolving in some form or the other as the essence in this universe. So it's called Bhuta, past. Then Bhavya. Bhavya means future. I'll be there in future also. You cannot say that, oh my God, this Janma is over. So next Janma I will not be there. You will be there in some form or the other. Maybe in Pitru Loka you will be there. Or maybe in Deva Loka, if you have a lot of punyans, you could be there in Indra Loka for some time. And eventually when the papam is all over and the punyam is all over, Indra will push you down. They'll say, okay, enough of holidays. Like we all do, right? We all go to India, we all go to other countries just for holiday. And eventually we have to come back. And what do? We crib about it. We just don't want to come. Or back to holidays, back to the grinding work, back to the office. So because every holiday, every happiness brings sadness also. You can never be always happy because for the people living here, they say, oh, that place is very good. Only for the person living here, you know that place is very good. Because all of them, they got their own perception of which is good, what is not good. But everybody who goes there and comes out, also they know that it is only limited happiness. Right? So it's called Bhuta Bhavya. Right? And Bhavaha, so present. So the Bhagavan who is in the past, who is in the present, also in the future, is called Prabhu. So the word Prabhu is known to you. Prabhu means the Bhagavan who is present in the past, present, and the future is named Prabhu. So these three things represent the Kalaha, time factor. So the one who is present in all the three, it means he is the one who is transcending the time also. right? The one who is present in the three kala also is beyond time also. See, if someone wants to be known in the three times, it should be beyond time. Otherwise, he will also be subject to time, correct? You will say, here Vishnu also was existing before. He's existing now. He'll be in future. He'll be in what? He will also be like us, but he's not like us. He is beyond time. Right? So, Kalatrayatitaha. Right? Gunatrayatitaha. So, Gunatraya Atitaha means what? Three gunas. Sattva guna, Raja guna, Tamo guna. These are Atitaha. That is beyond three gunas. Kalatraya Atitaha. So, Kalatraya means what? Bhuta, Bhavya, Bhavat. So, the one who is beyond the three kala is called the Prabhu, or Bhagavan is beyond the three times. You cannot measure him in any form. You cannot say that he was there. Only so many lives are there. No, he's all beyond time. Because time is within actually one of the elements of time is one of the elements, and time just comes and goes. Correct. So Vishnu being this Parabrahman, or the one which is called the Atma, the consciousness we say, is beyond time. Then Bhuta Krit. So Bhuta Krit means the one who is the creator of all the beings is called Bhuta Krit. The creator of all beings. So the word Krit means Krita, or action, or creating. So Bhuta Krit means the one who is a creator of this universe, all the human beings. So he's called a Paramapita. So Jeshta Pita, or whatever you call, is called the oldest living person, the oldest person. So he says Sadashiva Samarambham. Correct. So why do you say this mantra? Sadashiva Samarambham means what? Everything started with Shiva only. There was nothing here before other than Shiva. So from there only Vyasa Shankara Madhyamam. So all the people like Vyasa, they came after the Shiva. So Shankara came after Vyasa. And Asmat Acharya Paryantam. So Acharyas came what? After this Shankara. So unto the Parampara, Vande Guru Parampara. So unto the Parampara, all the methodology which is following, to the Shiva and to the Vyasa and to the Shankara and to the Guru, I am offering my Vandanam, Vande Guru Parampara. So that is the meaning of that. So same way here also, Bhuta Krit means the creator of all the beings. And when you say Bhutam, it means all the five elements, all the Pancha Bhuta. Right? Pancha Pranas. So we got five elements called earth, space, fire, wind, and water. Correct? First five elements. We got Pancha Prana in your circulation, like Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. We have Pancha Pranas. We have five sensory organs, five sense powers. Power of touch, power of seeing, power of smell, power of taste, power of hearing. It's called the Pancha Jnana Indriyas. So through this we are able to understand this. Right? And Pancha Karma Indriyas. So Karma Indriyas means sense organs through which we do actions. And then we have Pancha Prana, through which the prana is required for us to circulate and for do the actions. Without the prana being there, you'll feel tired, very sleepy. Right? Prana has to circulate in the right manner also. Right? Then we have Manaha, mind, Buddhi, intellect. Then Ahankara. So Ahankara means what? I am there. Say this, right? So Ahankara. So Pancha Karma Indriyas, Pancha Jnana Indriyas, Pancha Pranas, Manaha, Buddhi, Chit, and Ahankara. All these things are the creation. All this called the Bhuta Krit, the creator of all these things. So just as outside we have got five elements, we also got five elements inside a physical body. So we also got the same thing. So we are part of the universe. So this universe belongs to this Panchabhutas. And in my own body also I got 5 elements. So I am not different from this universe because the factors are same. Only thing is the size is different. The amount of size and the amount of utility is different, but the entire thing is, see, if you look at the sea water, it's massive. I got the same water in a physical body also. The physical shape of the body, everybody is different. Somebody is tall, somebody is fat, somebody is tall, slim. All of them is representing what? It is the amount of physical water present in the physical body. Correct? So, because water is important for us to survive. You can live with water. You don't have even food also sometimes. You can survive for some time. But if you don't have water even for a single day, try it and see what happens. You will not be able to function because one drop of water makes a difference. At the same time, when we age, so right when you're very young, you can have muscles, you can bulking up. What do you call bulking up, right? Bulking up. So you bulk up and then you bulk down when you want to. So because my son does all these things, suddenly you'll find protein powder, etc. is there, one box full. What are you doing? So I'm bulking up. So suddenly you will just keep like Vishwarupam, you just go like this big Hanuman Mari point. Suddenly. Then suddenly you will start to go compress also. Sushma Like when Hanuman entered Lanka, he had to do a Sushma Rupam to go under the Rakshasas. So it is all possible because of the amount of liquid you're intaking. Right? But if your liquid stops intaking, see after some age when you become old, even though you want to drink also you cannot drink. The body will not accept it. It says enough. It says now I think you have come to a stage when we cannot tolerate enough of this. So you just have to accept the fact they are getting old, and you have to manage with what I can take. Because the physical body is also tired of doing so many things. One day it just says, I'm going to hang up the boots one day. So at that time only, you will see that you cannot eat. Even though you want to eat rasgulla, you cannot eat. You want to eat sambar sadam, you cannot eat. Because all this food which is eating will actually come out some way or the other. The body will not digest it. So you'll see the person shrinking in size. You've seen that? Like old people and see the body. You will see he was initially before, now he has got only stick like bones there. Because the body, the water in the body has shrunk to such a level that it is impossible to recognize a person. All is going inside down there. The eyes go deep inside. I'm not scaring you. Don't worry. There are young people in the class. I don't want to scare you. But this is the reality also in Bhajagopindam also. What it means is the water here, or the one is present here. Bhuta Krit means the creator of everything. Also Bhuta Brit means the protector. So Bhuta Brit and Bhuta Krit. Right? So Bhuta Brit means the one who is sustainer of everything. So he is the one who is the person sustaining everything. See, the whole of this galaxy is performing well. The sun is shining every day. The moon is actually coming perfectly every day at that time. Paurnami comes, Amavasya comes, rain comes, sunshine comes. You get wheat, you get everything there. The asteroids, they're performing exactly what it is. Nakshatranam aham. So Nakshatranam also comes there. So everything is functioning, everything. They don't go out of orbit and suddenly fall down. Imagine that every day something or other fall down. So who is the person maintaining this? There's somebody, there's a system there. But you can't see the person. Can anybody say that, why this universe is functioning like this? Science will say, it is functioning because it is functioning. That's what it will say. It is functioning because it is what it is. That's what it will say. They cannot say why the star is moving, or why this particular star is coming down, or why the star existed before. Correct? They can only tell what they can see. They cannot tell what they're going to see before the future, because there are more stars and more galaxies, more black holes, more Milky Ways, which are yet to be seen, which is already there. But our Shastram says that they are already there. We always say there are aliens out there. And people are living in another universe. They are in different form. Who cares? No, they are aliens. We saw a space rocket. Somebody is coming and going to challenge us. What they are going to challenge us? What are we going to lose? Only you are afraid, right? So Vedanta makes it very clear. See, our Shastram, when you study all these things, it gives you clarity of thought. You are not afraid of anybody. What thing can come and affect you? Because everything is Bhagavan's creation. See, those people living there also, they are subject to some rules. So they don't not come and show your face every day, right? See, they want, they can come every day and talk to you also. But they don't, because their lifestyle is different. They cannot come and survive here. You cannot go and survive there also. So everybody's got their own place. So you'll be happy in where you are. Do not worry about what they are doing, and they are not worrying about what you are doing. But I want to send a rocket to moon and find out what they are doing. Because the curiosity is there. Who kills? So this is called disturbing the order. Disturbing the order means when you start doing something which is against the method. Science, what does it do? Science actually wants to probe. It wants to prove that there's something there. Vedanta doesn't bother to prove because we already know. So when you already know something, why do you want to know more about it? You already know. So it says, Bhuta Krit, Bhuta Brit. Okay. And Bhavaha. So Bhavaha means the one who is the cause of everything. So the material cause of everything is called Bhavaha. So the Lord being the one who is present as a material cause of the universe. So he doesn't have to go and find something when material with somebody else. Like he doesn't come and ask us, oh, do you have this product with you or not? He has got everything. He doesn't go and ask anybody about how to create this world. He doesn't ask for technology. He doesn't ask for advice how to maintain this world. He doesn't ask anything. It is there as it is. Only we know we have to ask advice. If you want to create something, you have to go and ask somebody, oh, how should I do this? Correct? So it's called, that's why Bhavaha. So the Bhagavan Vishnu is present as the very essence in everything, as Bhuta Krit, Bhuta Brit, Bhavaha. Okay. So the one is present in everything. Okay. Then Bhutatma. So Bhuta Atma means the Atma, the essence of everything in every living and non-living beings is present there. So when you worship anything, you should worship as the Atma, the Bhagavan being there. That is why we have a culture in our Indian culture. We worship anything. There is nothing we should worship. Tree, somebody, you go and worship a tree. Stone, in Kedarnath, you go and worship a stone. See, when you go to Kedarnath, there's only a stone there. There's no Shivalingam or anything like this. Right? So, during the time of Ayudha Puja, we worship car. Somebody who is working in a factory, he will worship all the factory things, iron, turumbi, everything, whatever is available, they will just worship anything. They'll put a mala or everything, paper, books. So, why? Because we see the Bhagavan in everything. So, anything we offer, anything which we think is the product of the nature, is taken as Bhagavan. That is why our culture is superior to every other culture. Only in our culture we have this philosophy of respecting each and everything. Somebody will say, why are you worshipping these people? So many devatas are there, so many deities are there. Nobody asks us to why you are worshipping that devata. It is I can worship one, I can worship 33 crore. It doesn't matter. It is up to my choice. Correct? So that is why he says, because he is present Bhuta Atma. See, he is present as the Atma in every living and non-living being. So we worship tree, we worship Tulasi, everything, people do that. Animals we worship. Because we think it is non-separate. So the Bhagavan is present in everything. So we do not hurt animals also. Ahimsa. Right? So why do we feel ahimsa? Because we must not hurt. Ahimsa not in terms of physical. Ahimsa should also be in terms of not oral. You must following ahimsa orally also. And also manasam also. So it's not enough just to say, nice person, very nice person. Then we just say. So very nicely said. Internally, you know that you are actually really, you don't want the person. But what do you say? wow, very nice. You just let the person go. Later on, you don't want the person to come home because you do not want to see the person or very nearby. So somehow they find excuse. So ahimsa should not be there. So people come in different packages. They come in different types. The person who can get along with everybody and accommodate everybody is a wise person. And that is what we have to develop. See, children also, like, sometimes they're very adamant and rude sometimes. Sometimes you wonder, why are these people so rude? We have done so many things for these people. Suddenly they just come and ask questions. Because they come with their own prarabdha. They got their own things to deal with. What they are trying to do is something, they are dealing with their own things. That's all it is. You are not creating something, neither you are responsible for their actions also. Mind you one thing. If you think you are responsible for their actions, you will be the person suffering there. But the reason why people are acting differently is because they are ordained, they have got their own prarabdha karma, which itself is making them talk like this, do like this. And they will have to do that way to finish their what they got to do there. There's no choice for them. So howsoever you try to correct them, howsoever you try to modify them, you think you can change people, you cannot. You have to adapt yourself. See, what do you tell in management? We always tell that you cannot change another person, you have to change yourself. You will try to start changing somebody else, you will become that person. Because you will be always be saying, oh, let me see this, let me see this, let me see this. So you have to understand and then adapt yourself to deal with different situations. The Bhagavan does it. So that's why it's called Bhuta Krit, Bhuta Brit, Bhavaha, and Bhutatma. And how is it? Bhuta Bhavanaha. So we saw that Bhuta Bhava, correct? So Om Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu Bhuta Krit Bhuta Brit Bhavo Bhutatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. So he is the one who is responsible for all of them. Is it clear? One verse in one class. Yes. Yes, Shashadriji.
Bhuta Bhavanaha, last word.
Yeah. See, Bhavaha, I told you, right? Bhavaha means
The
material cause of the universe.
Everything.
Yeah.
The same meaning.
Same meaning.
Okay.
So Bhavana means like the way you worship is, you should have the Bhavana, means you should have the right attitude of worshipping as the one who is present in Bhuta Bhavya Bhavaha. The one is present in all the three states of experience, all the three states, all the three time kalaha, Trikalaha. So it's called Trikala Abhaditam. So that the one who is beyond the three kalaha is called Trikala Abhaditam. See, Vishnu Sahasranam is actually, we can there's a Bhashyam written also by Adi Shankara. The Bhashyam itself can take you 4 years to study. Okay, but imagine that this much information is only at the factual level. Like what we are talking about is, this is the meaning of Vishwam. To go to that level, it takes so much time. See, we have done only one verse in 1 hour. You could have done this 1 hour, you have done 3 times chanting the whole Sahasranama. Somebody is, like Radhani Express, there are people here who can chant like Radhani Express, they can do three times, they can chant the whole thing in 1 hour. But that is not important, because it is not relevant how fast you chant. It is relevant as to how you chant and what you understand from chanting is important. Your mind has to be there. Your mind has to be there, present with every word, and then that becomes interesting for you. Otherwise, it will be. Rohan, you're clear, or you want some explanation? You came a bit late, right?
Sir, நான் தான் உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்கேன். நமஸ்காரம்.
உங்களுக்கு டவுட் தான் இருக்கா கீதாஜி?
I'm clear. Thank you.
Plenty of doubt. Sorry. Okay.
Test today.
Okay.
12 to 1:30.
Okay. நீங்க நாளைக்கு வாங்க. நாளைக்கு last time சொன்ன மாதிரி you can come tomorrow.
Yes.
After the Tamil class, you can hang around. I think I'll teach you the other things which we did last week.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, any day you're free, give me a call and I'll go through these Dhyana Shloka, something you wanted, right? Last time we covered one of them, correct?
எஸ் எஸ் பூர்வன்யாச கவர் பண்ணோம்
Ama.
நான்
We will do the other one and then that. So this one today, you understood this one? Inniki puriyudha aniki today?
எஸ் எஸ்
It's very easy. இதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப easy words.
ஓகே
I mean, words are easy, but the explanation is difficult.
Exactly. Words are easy, but explanation is required.
Shadriji, any questions I've got?
No.
Thank you.
Krishnaji, today you're very quiet. You didn't put your hand up at all. Is everything okay?
ஒரே டவுட் வருது புருஷ சுத்தத்துல we are discussing that Brahma is creating.
Brahma is?
பிரம்மா தானே முதல்ல அந்த இதெல்லாம் பண்ணுவாங்க மானசமா இதெல்லாம் பண்றாங்க.
ஆமா, ரைட். ஆமா.
அதுல பிரம்மா இல்லையா நீங்க சொன்னீங்க.
ஆமா.
அப்போ இது வந்து விஷ்ணு.
இது விஷ்ணு.
ஆமா. So
see, Purusha Suktam, Brahma is the creator. From Brahma was first to come.
Yeah.
Right. So there because the Devas didn't know whom to offer, because in the beginning there was nothing to be offered.
Yeah.
See, there was nothing created, correct?
Yeah.
So no metals were there, nothing was there. So they didn't know what to create. So they offered the Purusha itself.
Yeah.
So when you say offer the Purusha, means the Bhagavan himself came and said that, okay, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I am the person who knows everything. Bhutakrit, Bhuta Bhava. Means I am present, I have everything there.
Yeah.
So you offer me as the ritualistic person. So he sat himself, come and sat in front of the altar.
Vishnu himself.
Here you can say
Yeah.
that here there's no offering here. It's actually all manasam. So
Okay.
there, that talks about the creation Srishti. So when the Bhagavan himself as a Purusha,
Yeah.
as the consciousness who came in
Yeah.
the form of the Devata, and
Yeah.
he says that, okay, from me you create everything. So what they did was, Devas, etc., they chanted mantras, and
Yeah.
through the power of his own Yoga Shakti, the universe came into existence, created.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Here,
Yeah,
same thing is talked about, same concept here as
Yeah. Vishnu.
same Vishnu. So Vishnu is
Yes.
present there for the, but ultimately what creation is only one. There's no Vishnu
Only-
creation, there's no Shiva creation.
Yeah.
No, this is also to be understood because எங்களோட டிஃபரன்ஸ் சார் அப்படின்னா,
Yes. Yes.
ஸோ நாங்க வழி டிஃபரெண்ட் அப்படின்னா, இது என்ன வழி, ஒரே வழி தான்.
Mm-hmm.
Even you go to temple, is there any வழி for separate people? ஒரே வழி தான். So there's no தனி வழி Rajinikanth talks about.
I just cleared it.
So what it means, you can go to the temple. See, if you go to Madurai temple, there are 4 dwaras, correct? You can go from all 4 directions. So people
Yeah.
come from the city itself is the middle of the Madurai city.
Yeah.
The city is spread by the temple door itself, the
Yeah,
dwara
yeah.
itself.
Yes.
So people who are on that side of the south side,
Mm.
they won't bother to go to the north side and enter from there.
Yeah.
What they will do, they will just enter from whichever is convenient for their place, and they will
Yeah.
exit from there only.
Yeah.
But when they go from all the 4 places, right, they have to converge only in one place.
Mm-hmm.
Like you may be, any caste, any kula, any gotram, anything, short woman, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But when you come to the Garbhagriha, Sanctum Sanctorum,
Yeah.
there's only one line.
Yeah. One line.
Only one person can go there also.
Yeah.
No 2 people can go and sit there and worship also. Only one person can go there.
Yes.
What it means is that ultimately when you come to Bhagavan, you may come from different sources, but ultimately when you come to know the Bhagavan, there's only one way.
Yeah.
There's no 2 ways there. That's why you say Jnana Margam is the only way to understand Bhagavan.
Yeah.
Bhakti Margam is a way, is actually a means.
Yeah.
Right? All Dhyana is also a means. All the instruments required for you to do. But ultimately when you want to know the Bhagavan, you must know who the Bhagavan is. So these things will help you only, and will make you prepare. You cannot say that I'll get Bhakti Yoga will take me there, Jnana Yoga will take me there, Karma Yoga will take me there. அப்படிலாம் ஒண்ணும் கிடையாது. ஒரே ரூட் தான் போகும்.
Bhakti on the gate. Bhakti is a gate to enter.
See, all these are all requirements for you to get prepared.
Yes.
See, Bhakti Mutritra, when Bhakti becomes very, very solid,
Yeah.
then it becomes Jnana.
Yeah.
When Bhakti becomes still not very full, it will become as only Anya Bhakti.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll stop the class here and we'll continue for the next verse and we'll see how we go with that. For those people who are coming to the Gita class, 7:45, I'll see you in the other class. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम तत्सत् श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम नमस्ते हरि ओम
Thank you.
थैंक यू